You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. My guest, Dr. Bosman Asari, Deputy Chairman, Corporate Services at the Electoral Commission, Ghana. Bernard Ambatayala Mona, 2024 presidential candidate, People's National Convention, that's a PNC. Kofi Samoa Sian, presidential candidate, Progressive People's Party. The two were disqualified, and they are in court to fight their disqualification. Gary Nimakumafo is Director Legal Affairs, New Patriotic Party. Roxanne Nelson Eche Kwame Dafiamapo, MP Saudai, and Vice Chairman, Subsidiary Legislation Committee. He belongs to 3 or 4 other committees of Parliament. Thanks, gentlemen, for making time to join us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Great.
Well. Wow.
So, thank you. So, let's begin with, briefly, with the disqualification you handed out to the 10 presidential hopefuls. What was their crime?
Good morning to you again, and good morning to our viewers. When we started the nomination process, the returning officer of the presidential election did make an announcement that the commission has 2 committees, a technical committee and an IT committee. And these 2 committees were given specific responsibilities. For example, one of the responsibilities of the technical committee was to ensure that all the applicants were qualified, including their running mates. They went through that. And the IT committee was also responsible, at least one principal function was to ensure that those who were endorsing the candidates were qualified. So when you look at the announcement which was made by the chairperson, from that particular perspective, the team was tasked to go through the application processes. And all of them were given the opportunity to make corrections when necessary. At the conclusion of the entire exercise, we noticed that about 10 of them, actually 11, one of them dropped out. So making it 10 couldn't satisfy the requirements of the commission. And you know, Mr. Something, we went through a very, very scientific, rigorous process. So anyone who is out there thinking that maybe the commission took a personal decision, or the commission did not like that particular person or the party the person is coming from, the person is making a very serious mistake. The matter is in court, so usually when it's in court, as a public servant, you don't want to be commenting on it. But generally, what I want to say is that all those who were disqualified, they were disqualified because they didn't meet the requirements that were set by the commission. We even had instances where somebody who was registered in, let's say, Okankwe South, endorsing the candidature of someone, indicating that he was registered in, let's say, Bantama. And all those things were there. So I know when the court, we are called upon to go to court, the commission should be able to provide all this evidence.
Right. I understand you. But, sorry, forgive me, when we make the general statement that matters are pending in court cannot be commented on, it's not exactly accurate.
Okay.
You cannot comment on them to a certain extent by trying to prejudice the process and suggesting that this person has a better evidence, can win, this cannot win, and so on.
Thank you.
Particularly when it's a public matter like this, and a matter of elections, the citizens have the right to comment on them. So, as part of our job of holding you accountable, how will you justify the disqualifications? You gave the all clear to 13 of the presidential candidates.
Yes.
And then 11 of them, or we say 10 of them, are the ones who failed. How did they fail?
In terms of how did they fail, Samson, I have some evidence here. I will try and go through. For example, one of the candidates, a supporter for Dwaboso, is a registered voter in Tano South District. Now, by law, you are supposed to have 2 people endorsing your candidature from every district of our country. So a supporter for Brim South District is a registered voter in the Sutifi South. And this is very, very clear. We've even had instances where about 4 different people, they have the same signatures.
And this is not new. Previously, you have found people who have also infracted in this way.
Yeah, and we disqualify them. And all this, we made everything clear to all the candidates and the political parties.
Right.
So the commission's intention was that things must be done properly.
Okay.
We must follow the law. So it's not surprising that there are some people who are not known. They were able to make.
So once you find that you have brought Kwesi, who is in District A, a voter in District A, to have, as it were, endorsed your candidacy for District B, outright, you are disqualified.
Outright, but there are many other, a lot of infractions occurred.
Once you find one such situation, the person is disqualified.
Not only one, there are many others.
I'm only making a point that is what you do.
That's what we do. But for all those who are disqualified, for example, I can show this is only one person. One person. So a lot of them. And we hear them making this general statements that they thought the commission was unfair to them. You look at the work our team did and the conclusions we arrived at. And we have to make sure Ghana is a multi-party democracy and the constitution enjoins us. If we are going strictly by that, or only those who are qualified, we may end up getting maybe only one or two people contesting.
Okay.
But we need to make sure we go through. Some of the errors were such that you couldn't pardon them. So we did that. And it's not surprising that we have so far 4 independent candidates. I think Mr. Chiramate, Nana Bediakon, Mr. Chum Berma, as well as we had 4. The 9 political parties.
Nana Stevens,
Nana Stevens.
Dr. Paul Pekon, and then you have James Kwesi Opong. These are those that were disqualified.
Yes.
Right. All right. So we understood you gave them opportunities to make certain corrections. I'm looking at your statement, but I'm putting the questions to you because you are here. What were these corrections they were supposed to make?
A number of them couldn't complete the forms. Some of the pages were empty. We gave them the opportunity. Some of them didn't have people even endorsing. Even some of the candidates themselves, places they had to sign, they didn't do it. And some of them didn't get the required number of people to submit. And there were even instances where you could also have the same person endorsing something, also endorsing Bossman. So we had to get to the bottom of that. So we gave everyone the opportunity. At the end of the day, only 3 parties did not go back to do any correction.
Only 3 parties?
Only 3. And I remember, if my memory will serve me right, maybe about 2 parties and 1 independent candidate. They had everything.
The 2 will be the 2 major parties?
I need to cross-check with you. I wasn't part of the team.
All right.
But based on the report from the team.
Okay, thank you. Let me pick a few questions for you. First of all, maybe Roxanne.
Yes.
I wanted us to hear from the 2 who are in court, but let's hear you briefly. What do you make of the process?
Now, Samson, I have listened to Doc here and elsewhere, and I think that some of the commissioners are confusing their mandate with other matters. For instance, you just said requirement of the EC. It's not the EC that sets the requirement. The qualification criteria is set in law.
Correct.
By the Constitution and the constitutional instruments that Parliament passed to give effect to the constitutional imperatives. Now, when you say that I am disqualifying a person from contesting as a presidential candidate in the public election in the Republic of Ghana, what are you saying? It's such a heavy matter. So, there are not things that you can do whimsically. Whimsically in the sense that what exactly is the basis of the disqualification? That you are not a Ghanaian, you are not 40 years? Because he mentions a district. The nomination is just a process. It cannot be a criteria for disqualification.
Non-compliance with the requirement for endorsement does not invalidate your candidacy.
Hold on. I am saying that your mandate as the Electoral Commission constitutionally set up is to give effect to the criteria set out in the Constitution. So when you give out checklists You must be very clear as to what the people should do. I heard him say that they invited some persons back to make certain corrections. That is what they are supposed to do. So when, for instance, you offer those opportunities and the people did not comply, you have to write to them. But they didn't do that. According to the letters given out by Movement for Change, some persons were even contacted by WhatsApp messages. That cannot be a proper procedure in dealing with this matter, because you are dealing with rights set out under the...
But you are talking form over substance.
No.
If they are speaking to you orally,
No.
if they are sending you WhatsApp, it's the same as writing to you.
Because regulation CI 127, it provides in regulation 9 as follows. 1, it says whenever the nomination paper and the statutory declaration of a candidate are delivered and the deposit is paid in accordance with these regulations, the candidate shall be considered to stand nominated unless proof is given to the satisfaction of the returning officer of the candidate's death, withdrawal, or disqualification. Now we speak of disqualification. So what are the criteria for disqualifying these people? State it clearly in a formal communication, because they have a power under the law to appeal that decision. And the law says within 7 days. So when people complain about the approach, that you disqualify me, I had my disqualification on the news. That cannot be proper. That cannot be proper.
Let me return to you quickly about what infractions should ground disqualification and what infractions should not.
Glossed over or corrected, yeah.
Let me check. Bernard and Kofi, good morning and thanks for joining us on Newsfile.
Samson, good morning.
Right. So, Kofi, how did you get it wrong? How did your party, the PPP, get it wrong?
Yeah, Samson, first of all, thank you for the opportunity and my regards to the two gentlemen in the studio and greetings to the PPP people all over the world that are watching us this morning. The first statement I want to make before I answer your question directly is that I find the EC's conduct, comments made by Dr. Bosman Asari last week and this morning, and how the EC has gone about all this process to be very disrespectful. And not just to me, but to the constitution from which they draw their powers, and also to the regulations that the Honorable Dafia Marco spoke about, and even the authority of Parliament, and also all the other presidential candidates that were involved in this exercise.
Explain the disrespect.
I take serious exception to Madam Jim Menson's press conference on Friday afternoon, the 20th of September. She starts on national television and accused me that I had done a subscription of my nomination form with a registered voter in, let's say, District A, and has gone to endorse my form in District B, without giving details of this district. Every district in Ghana has a name. Every subscriber of my form has a name, and the details are on the forms. The second thing she made that I find disrespectful is that she said on TV and in the news at the press conference that she gave me and the PPP the opportunity to correct this error, and I failed to do it. I find that very insulting. Because
insulting or untrue? Which is which?
Yeah, because it's false, it's untrue also, and it's both. And that is why I say it's insulting and disrespectful. And Dr. Bosmansari and Madam Jim Mensah should be very careful with the information they get from this so-called faceless IT committee and technical committee. They are not the ones responsible for this exercise.
You are saying here that you were said to have been given an opportunity to make some correction, and that is untrue. The EC never gave you that.
It is very untrue. So I'm going to explain why I say it is so. In this nomination process, starting when we submitted our form, starting from the 13th of September, the Friday, we have had four correspondences, 2 from us and 2 from the Electoral Commission. Nowhere has the Electoral Commission said to me that my form had a problem like the one Dr. Bosman-Asare is describing this morning, or the one Madam G. Mensah spoke about in respect of my nomination form. So if you have not told me that this is what I have done, and you have not given such an opportunity for such correction, why do you sit at a press conference as an official spokesperson for the EC to make this general statement about the fact that, as if some irresponsible guy wants to be president, he's given an opportunity and doesn't want to take advantage of it?
You delivered these forms personally?
I know the party officials did that.
Right.
But I completed my part of what I was supposed to do.
And you are stating as a matter of fact that the EC never contacted you. It did not contact any of the officials of your party?
Yes, so what I'm saying is that the Electoral Commission said on TV that my error was error A. That error has never been communicated. So what they did after we submitted the form was that they wrote to us. In fact, the way they were doing it, we were very suspicious of the activities of the Electoral Commission these days because of what we stand politically in this election.
Kofi, respectfully, can you answer my question?
Yes.
Did the EC
yes,
revert to the PPP, not you as a person?
Oh yes, but I'm saying that what they said is different.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So let me.
So you are confirming that the EC did not tell a lie, or the returning officer, Jean Mensah, did not tell a lie when she spoke to the public that the PPP had been given an opportunity to do some correction?
No, she did. Because what I'm saying to you, I'm saying 2 things. That she said in respect of my nomination form, that this is the error identified. And I'm saying that is not the case. And she proceeded to say, I was given an opportunity to fix that error and I refused. So it's not true that she did such contact in respect of that error. So it wasn't accurate and it's false. So let me now tell you what was contained in the letter that they submitted. And I'm happy that the Venerable Tafiamako is there. And the things I wanted to point out to you, to ask Dr. Bosman-Asare, he has addressed them. The EC's letter said, it was dated 13th September, but they asked us to come for it on the 14th of September. So even in that letter, you could see that there were still errors from the EC side and from our side. What was contained specifically were that we have gone through your nomination forms and that the committee that Dr. Bosman-Asare refers to has identified incomplete particulars of subscribers in the following pages. And then they listed the pages. It's about 10 of them, more than 10 or so. So when we got the form and we opened up the directed pages, in fact, 2 of the forms had no, what I would call portals, or to use the EC's words, the incompleteness. And what were these portals or incompleteness? They were things like polling station name. Obviously, not many people know their polling station names. I myself confess, I don't know my polling station name. I can close my eyes and walk there. I don't know the name the EC had put on it. So incomplete particulars were polling station name, some of them phone numbers, and some of them addresses. And we did the right corrections and put a cover letter on it and resubmitted by the date the Electoral Commission had directed, the following day, Sunday, before 12 noon. So why would you say that we refuse to take advantage of the opportunity? And also, you go and mention some other error that you had not communicated to us to be the basis for our disqualification. That cannot be appropriate.
Is this error that they mentioned that they did not speak to you about in your letter?
They said I had swapped, these are my own words, I had swapped the district of the subscribers. In essence, they say that maybe my subscriber, I'm using Dr. Bosman Asari's example, because I don't know that the district that they're even talking about, I speak to you. Even when we requested the reasons and they wrote to us, they still didn't indicate what the reasons were. I mean, the letter after the so-called disqualification exercise. So basically, I don't know the district, but what they are trying to say is that one subscriber in District A, instead of subscribing for me in District A, mistakenly subscribed in District B. That was the allegation that I'm speaking about that I'm not happy about.
Okay, hold on for me. Let me go to Bernard Ambateyala Mona, who is the flag bearer of the PNC. Bernard, thanks for joining us. Please unmute your mic. Great. We can see you clearly, but we can't hear you.
Samson, good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you now. Thank you very much. Happy to see you beaming with smiles. The footages I had seen after your disqualification were troubling. You were really disturbed. So, in respect of your candidacy, what did you get wrong?
Samson, it's so disingenuous to see an academic like Dr. Bosman come and sit in the studio and spew such lies about my person.
I would ask that you don't personalize. I would ask that you try as much as you can not to
Samson, there
personalize.
cannot be personalization when the man has sat in your
Dr.
studio
Asari is not the returning officer
and is impugning
for the
things
presidential
that
elections.
are just pure fabrications about my person, and you think that it is personalization. Samson, do you know what it takes for one to go around the 275 constituencies of this country campaigning to be elected as the leader of your political party and to represent your political party? In terms of fuel and logistic mobilization, do you know what it takes? In terms of risk, then somebody just come and sit down and tell lies and you say that I'm personalizing it. Take it easy and let me talk. This is the Electoral Commission, and Samson, I've sent you the communications between myself and the Electoral Commission.
I've seen them.
The letter that the Electoral Commission gave me, is no different from the letter that they gave to the other political parties. And you want me to sit down and tolerate these kind of lies? Samson, this is the letter, and if you want, you can put it on your platform. Presidential Nomination Vetting Committee report. I bring you greetings from the Presidential Nominations Vetting Committee and trust that this letter finds you well. I'm sure Kofi Sian will read the same thing to you. The Nomination Committee has detected the underlisted anomalies with your nomination forms. 1, incomplete particulars of supporters, pages 9, 10, 37, 39, 42, 46, 50. They said 1, there was no 2. So if they have detected incomplete particulars of my supporters, Samson, are they the same things that Bosman is sitting on your studios and talking about? So these incomplete records or particulars refer to a date that is omitted, refer to a polling station name that is omitted, refer to a polling station code that is omitted, refer to a telephone number that is omitted, and sometimes on one set of forms, all the information is provided. On some other forms, the information is not provided, so we simply corrected them and returned them to the Electoral Commission. Samson, these are the errors the Electoral Commission identified and brought to my attention on the 14th. And on the same 14th, the corrections were done to the Electoral Commission. On the 20th, take note, 14th to the 20th is 6 days clear. On the 20th, when I started getting calls from other aspirants, and I keep telling people that the political space It's just a circle. All of us are inside there and we play together. I know what problems the CPP have faced. I know what problems the LPG faced. I know what problems every political party faced with their nomination forms, because we talk to each other. In the end, I called Jean Mensah, she could not respond. I called Sami Tete, she could not respond. I called Dr. Bosman. He responded and said over the night, the committee gave them some report. They have issued letters, but he was heading to the office. And that, upon reaching office, he will get back to me. Dr. Bosman is here to get to the office since the 20th of September. All calls placed to Dr. Bosman were declined.
But on the 20th, you got a letter from the EC.
Ready to respond to me, I commissioned my lawyers to write to them. My lawyer's letter got to them at 11 a.m. At 1:17 p.m., Kiti Asante sent me.
Did we lose Bernard there? Okay, let's rectify Bernard's line. But on the 20th, he's going to refer to this letter, which I suppose he's suggesting that his lawyers had to write before he got that letter. And that letter, dated the 20th of September 2024, is from the EC, and it says filing of nomination disqualification from the 2024 presidential election. I bring you greetings, and so it's on behalf of the commission, I regret to inform you that following the review of your nomination forms by the technical and IT teams established for this purpose, you unfortunately failed to qualify to contest as a presidential candidate in the 2024 presidential election. The teams identified several errors and omissions in your forms, even though you were provided with an opportunity to correct same. We wish you better luck next time. And it's signed by Jean Mensah. Gary Nimakumafo joins us in the studio now. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Samson.
Great. Whilst we try to raise Bernard, what will you say preliminary, briefly, about the circumstances that they find themselves in?
Well, good morning to you, Samson. Good morning to Dr. Bosman and my good friend.
Come and contribute towards the campaign.
That's in the Fimapo. You know, this issue about people filing with the EC and making mistakes and errors. I've been a lawyer, PPP, in the last elections when Dr. Indu was disqualified.
I recall.
You recall?
Yes, I recall.
And we had to go to court and had them reinstated on the ballot. It was this same issue of not being able to fill the form properly. So I'm a bit curious why.
I think then the thing turned on the time, opportunity to do the corrections and resubmit.
They were not allowed to do the amendment at that time.
Right.
You see? So I thought that having had the experience of that particular incident, I've taken their time to ensure that the forms were all properly filled and everything was done foolproof. I'm a bit worried that you want to, be given the opportunity to be on the ballot, and then we are being told that there are several omissions and several errors on the form. I'm a bit worried. I'm very, very worried. So for me, if they were given the opportunity to correct themselves and still they didn't correct themselves, and now they find themselves in this kind of soup, and they are in court, let the court decide and let's see how it goes. But I'm worried why you want to be on the ballot as a president of the republic and you fill forms, nomination forms, and back and forth every time there are errors and there are errors and there are errors. Even if you don't give the opportunity to correct the errors, that for me will be an issue. But why do you always have to get errors every time? I mean, I don't understand it. And it's as if we are making the EC appear that maybe they are not being fair to these aspirants. But truth be told, every game that we go and play, there are rules governing the game. If the rules are that you must fill your forms correctly and submit them within a certain period of time, pay your nomination fees and all that, I think we should all comply. That is the way I see it. But now that they are in court, let's see how the courts will look at it.
Right.
On
Right.
this particular matter.
Bernard, thank you for getting back to us. Apologies, sorry for what happened to your line. Yes, so your lawyers wrote before you were served with the letter of 20th September. That's where you were getting to.
And evidently, you will notice that it was not a response to my lawyer's letter. And this one that you have is just the same template. You can ask Samuel Appiah Dankwa. I have all their letters with me. You can ask Sam Ankra. You can ask Epeko. You can ask Sion. It's the same template. This is a very lazy electoral commission. And I'm just hearing Gary Nemako talk about errors. Gary, who said that mistakes are not bound in human institutions? This is the Electoral Commission's own nomination forms. Go to page 139. And it talks about candidates' personal records. On the candidate's personal record, 1, name. 2, voter ID number and polling station. 3, it says 6. Then they put M and F.
They meant to write
Gary,
sex.
is the Electoral Commission
sex.
disqualified for making errors? Are they not intending to write sex? Who disqualifies somebody on trivialities, on non-tangentials? You know, as a lawyer, that the basic qualification to contest for president is to be of 40 years of age, a registered voter, a citizen, and probably of sound mind. Probably all of us should be taken to psychiatric for the soundness of our mind, including those at the Electoral Commission. I have gone beyond these things. And so if there are administrative errors, and Bossman, you keep it to your chest and don't bring it to my attention, why am I going to be held liable?
All right, now
for
Bernard,
your inefficiency?
Now, Bernard, hold on briefly there. Roxanne, look at this. The first letter they wrote to them on the 13th of September,
Yes.
which Kofi Assamoah refers to,
Yes.
speaks to incomplete particulars of supporters.
Yes.
And then it refers to the specific pages where there is the incompleteness.
Yes.
Now, this next letter that the EC writes to them refers to errors and omissions on the form.
Yes.
What Kofi Assamoah suggests, and Bernard also is referring to, is that you told me about incompleteness, not errors. You did not point to me that the voter in District A who endorsed me,
That was incomplete.
is a voter in District C, and that conflicts with the law. Therefore, you cannot, on the basis of that, disqualify me.
Yes.
Do they make sense to you?
Yes, they do. Because you see, our elections are not even organized on district basis. They are organized on constituency basis.
The EC didn't make that law.
Good.
No, I don't think that's the correct statement.
That's the correct statement of law. Please, please, you may verify. We don't organize elections based on districts. They are organized based on constituencies. That is why you can have 2 constituencies in one district. If I take you to Tema, there's an EC office sitting in Tema. It serves the Tema East constituency and Tema Central. That is one EC office. So these matters ought to be particularized properly. And I give you an example. The parliamentary nomination forms is riddled with errors. I sent information to EC that I have identified as many as 4 paragraphs under declaration with errors. So, for instance, if we had proceeded to endorse them the way EC released them, I would have disqualified myself, for instance.
Do you find?
So I'm making a point that the EC itself, in its official documents, made errors. And that's why Bernard said, these are trivialities.
Is it trivial to find that the instructions are clear? The person endorsing you must be a voter in the district in which the person is endorsing you? Is it trivial that someone in District A is endorsing and voting in District A, is endorsing you as in District H?
You see, the use of district is confusing. They should say constituency because the polling stations are located in the constituency.
The law is clear
Can
that your endorsement must come from districts.
It must come from constituencies.
No, it's district.
Hold on. It
Two
must come.
endorsements from a district.
They quoted that. They did it. The law mentions constituencies. So that error comes from the EC. The law speaks of constituencies because polling stations.
You are not changing the regulations here.
The polling stations are gazetted in constituencies.
No, you are trying to
I'm
change
not
the
changing
regulation.
the law.
The regulation says
that is the law.
You should have two people endorse you from each district.
Then there has to be an error.
The law is an error.
Yes, why? The law can be in error.
If it's an error, then
The law can be in an error.
If it's an error,
So, because when you use a
then in
district,
Parliament.
you see, when you use a district, you'll be confusing the particularization on the ground. The polling stations are not located in districts; they are located in constituencies.
You have been filling these forms. You have not been making these mistakes.
No, I don't make those mistakes.
Right.
So let me get back to the point that you raised. That is why under Regulation 9(6) of 127, CI 127, it gives the commissioner, in fact the returning officer, time before the end of the nomination period to give opportunity for the persons who are seeking to contest to amend and correct these errors.
Do you think that these corrections should include what they suspect is a fraudulent conduct?
Of course, because you have to vet the forms even before you accept them. The law requires you to vet the forms upon submission. And so, because it could be a voluminous process, the law says that before the close of nomination, the law implies a certain time frame within which you are working. So when you receive the forms, you have maybe a couple of days to get back to the nominee and say that I have detected ABC. An incompleteness cannot be an illegality.
Right. Gary, do you suspect that the EC may not have pointed these to them because it felt those are not things that are subject to correction? Because it felt those may be acts in fraud.
Oh, I think the EC is here. This question should be answered by the EC, not Gary Macon.
But you can give an educative answer.
No, I don't think I should.
Yes, what do you say?
EC.
Yeah, I think definitely the team took all that into consideration and came to the conclusion that there were certain things you allowed them to do the corrections. And Council, I have something here.
Okay.
For example, on a page, you have the endorsement of Council,
Yes.
Gary, then you have the signatures are the same.
But the same name?
Not the same name, different names. You have that. And
How are
apart
you able
from
to determine that the signatures are the same?
By a casual look, then
A casual look.
a casual look can see that.
apart from that, I mentioned earlier, you have one person who is registered in Tamale. Then Tamale North is a voter in Tamale North. And the person has endorsed someone, has endorsed in Bantaman. And I think Council was saying, Honorable was making the point that the elections are in constituency. Let's make something clear. When we are doing registration as Electoral Commission, registration is done at the district level. We don't register people and put them in constituencies.
You have district offices, not constituency offices.
Not constituency offices. And when we are doing exhibition is on district basis. When we are doing district assembly election, everything is district.
So what's your answer to that direct question? You said the team determined that there were certain things they would allow them to correct, but there were
and
certain
some of them
things
they
you don't allow correction.
were not able to correct.
Those you allowed for
And
correction.
it will shock you that some of them, even the time they brought their document, we had a window from 9th September to 13th September. And we had some people bringing it around 5 p.m., 5:15 p.m.
On the 13th.
On the 13th. So clearly, you will not have the chance to do so. I think it's good this matter has gone to court, and it's appropriate that, as you rightly pointed out, we could still speak to it. But just for the information and the education of the public, all those who were disqualified, they had serious infractions, which made it impossible which made it possible for the team to disqualify them.
Okay. Kofi Asamoah, I'll take your very last word very briefly in a minute. Well, you feel very hard done by, but don't you think you could have avoided this?
Yes, so Samson, as justified as that comment will be, that is not what we're discussing here. And I think you should point it directly to Dr. Bosom Nasari. You cannot jettison the regulation. It is because of this posture.
You should add your friend, though, so don't add it to it.
Yeah, I know you. You see, what I don't appreciate is I take my citizenship seriously. So if you are dealing with me as a public officer, you should recognize that I'm a citizen, and I don't appreciate when you jettison the requirement of law. In fact, Regulation 3, Regulation 9.2, and something need to point it to him directly, as you do when other people are going off the mark, that what he's saying, and the question I think you put to Mr. Gary Demarco, when you said it, I say it's an unfair question. And it's because that whether it's an error, a violation, a crime, however so you want to describe it, the law captured it in Regulation 9.2, that when the form is not subscribed to according to law, when the form is not subscribed to in the way that is supposed to be, identify it and tell the candidate. You can't jettison that and keep everything to your chest, write vague letters to people, and you consider that to be a discharge of your duty to be fair and candid. That cannot be so. And my final point, as you said, I think there should be some legal education to the Electoral Commission. And I think going forward, I intend to take all these matters to the Supreme Court after the High Court matters and even after the 2024 elections. Because by Article 296, if you look at the steps, how they should deal with rejection of nomination form, it is not at the letter of disqualification. It says when the returning officer gives, first of all, identifies opportunities, the errors, and gives the candidate the opportunity to correct, and the candidate fails to correct, the returning officer shall make that endorsement and give it to the commission. So in this case, it's the chairperson doing the work, and then she will subsequently give it to the entire commission. And the law says the commission shall take a decision. I consider that phrase in the law to be a conferment of discretionary power on the commission. So you cannot, as a commission, when somebody is a citizen, take a decision of disqualification, and they should remove that word disqualification from their language. It's offensive. So
is that not, like I suggested earlier, is that not again substance over form? Regulation 9, Regulation 9, Regulation 9, sub-regulations 2 and 3. 2 says when you have the candidate nomination is seen to be invalid, you should be given the opportunity to make the necessary, it calls it amendments, alterations, and so on, within a stipulated time. Then it says when you have failed to comply with that, then the returning officer, which is the commission chairperson, shall consider the nomination paper of the candidate as invalid and shall endorse and sign on the nomination paper the reasons for that decision and inform the commission.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying, that the decision of the commission itself is a discretionary power that is conferred, and it has to be regulated in according to Article 296, because there's a reason why Regulation 1 is different from Regulation 2, that the candidate stands nominated. The qualification, as lawyer Dafia Marco said, is that that one is dictated by Article 62. So the Electoral Commission cannot just borrow words from different parts of the Constitution to apply it to something that it's not applicable.
Okay.
So my point is that when you read Regulation 2, what is supposed to be done by the Electoral Commission? Look, they didn't do the complete work that they were supposed to do. The letter they gave to invite us, if you read it carefully, when I read it, I was laughing because I knew the game they play when they have to favor one political party over the other. The Electoral Commission admitted on the 13th and on the 14th that when they were inviting us, in the letter, which you can read, that they are still going on with the process of authenticating the signatures and other things of the subscription. So by the time they were writing the letter, they were not done with the exercise imposed on them by regulation 2. So why were they in a hurry to come and notify us what we should come and correct? And when we have done those corrections, you don't change the goalpost and now say something you have not told me about. The purpose of the examination and thorough scrutiny is to identify these things. You can't jettison your job to some
Thank you, Kofi. Let me go to Bernard. Yes, Bernard, so as far as they are concerned, they gave you opportunity, and then there was also a timeline, and by Regulation 9.3, if you don't meet the timeline, then they have to do their job, and that's what they have done.
Samson, anytime you put your question this way, it feels like I should come very hard at Dr. Bossman. Dr. Bossman is right in your studios. And he will tell you that when they claim they sent the letter on the 13th, my attention was drawn to the letter on the 14th at 6:33 a.m. By 2 p.m., we had concluded the letter, and I wrote and resubmitted the corrected forms to them. Samuel Kwa, who received the letter at 3:29 p.m., on telephone confirmed that they have received my corrected forms. I have fulfilled my part of the bargain. Any other thing that Dr. Bossman is talking here is a concoction. What Jean Mensah said on the 20th does not align with the letter they wrote to me on the 30th and their so-called disqualification on the 20th. And, you know, I heard Dr. Bossman again talking about signatures. I didn't know that he was a signature expert. I contend at this moment that we need a forensic audit. We need a forensic audit of all the presidential candidates and their nomination forms. And I mean, how?
Will you be
Gary,
seeking?
The reason why I was calling you to be my lawyer and you declined to take my call.
Will you be seeking? This is just a direct answer I want. Will you be seeking to injunct the process if the court determination delays?
Samson, I know you are one of the very good lawyers. On this occasion, I wanted Gary to be my lawyer, and he declined to respond to my call. But if you read Relief G, if you read Relief G, it is an injunction on the Electoral Commission because the Electoral Commission has been served. And Relief G is saying that they should not proceed with the printing of ballot or any other procedure until I am included.
Okay, but you don't have a substantive. You don't have a substantive injunction application.
Has not got a final register.
Okay, all right.
The Electoral Commission has not got a final register, so they cannot go ahead to print any ballot.
Okay.
Because you only print ballot polling station specific and based on the polling station voter population, and you add a certain margin.
All right, Bernard, thank you.
So the Electoral Commission cannot at this moment even proceed.
All right. Bernard, thank you very much. When are you going to print your ballots?
I need to confirm with our team, but the process of finalizing the register is ongoing.
Okay.
This year we had the plan per the calendar. We had 14th October, but the process of finalizing we just finished with the exhibition.
All right.
We are implementing the decisions of the magistrates, and we are even yet to receive the ballot, the nominations from the constituencies, which we are doing that next week. So as soon as we finish next week, we'll be able to fix a time. And as he rightly pointed out, by the time the printing will begin, we should have finished with the final.
From what he's saying, you were most unfair to him, that he had to get to you guys, and then you brought it to his attention too late, except that maybe you were thinking that after that time on, he was not going to be given.
The commission did what we had to do to all the candidates.
All right.
We
take a break here. We'll return to look at that vexed matter of forensic audit of the register, which the EC has declined, describes it as premature, and says the NDC's issues have been taken care of. It calls them to the table. What about? Be right back. You're welcome back. This Newsfile is your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first. My guest in the studio who will continue with us, Dr. Bosman Asari of the Electoral Commission, Gary Nimakomafu, and Roxanne Nielsen Eche Kwame Dafiamapo. The Ransford B. Akoto says the EC seems to be measuring on trivialities to disqualify these candidates. How is the district/polling station name even a requirement? The EC has the data in their database. Yeah, that's how they're able to tell that this person belongs to the other place. The card should be enough to retrieve that information. K. Amofa says Dr. Bosman Asari is not convincing at all concerning the responses from the Ghana Electoral Commission to the disqualified presidential candidates. I have concerns. There are a lot more, but let me proceed and let's look at the EC's verdict on the NDC's responses. They are straightforward that the NDC's call for forensic audit is premature. So let's get Dr. Bosman Asari to explain their position to us. Why do you say it's premature, and in a circumstance where you have actually admitted to some of the issues they have discovered, except you say you have resolved them?
Thank you again, Samson. Let me make it very clear. When it comes to registration of voters in Ghana, we have a CI, that is CI 91 as amended by CI 126. So those are the two documents we use for registration of voters. And embedded in registration of voters, we also have the exhibition exercise. What the exhibition exercise does is that it brings out corrections. All the errors, all the discrepancies in the register are exposed by the exhibition exercise. So when we had the meeting with the NDC and they informed us of the discrepancies they had identified in the register, we told them that the essence of the exhibition was to identify discrepancies and correct them. Because the point is that when you register people, you collect raw data from the field. You now come to the head office of the Electoral Commission where you disaggregate this data into constituency, into districts, then from the districts to electoral areas to various polling stations. So there will be errors because of the way the data will be gathered. So you use the exhibition to be able to ensure that all these corrections have been effected. So when we met the NDC, we made it very clear to them. And there were others who also went. You know, the registration was done at the district level. So you will go to, let's say, my polling station, Ladede Kutupon. Then you will tell them that I live around the St. Thomas Aquinas Secondary School area. So they should put you in that particular polling station. But by the time you realize they have put you in a different polling station altogether. And there are some who are males. Their details will appear as females. So the exhibition is to correct that. So when we met the NDC, even in that particular meeting, they told us that they mentioned one of the names. They said the person was in the 2023 voters register, but the person was now missing in the 2024. And we told them in that particular meeting that this person is still intact in the register, and that all the concerns you have addressed, either you have identified, either we have addressed them or we were in the process of addressing. And for the good people of our country, I can say without any shadow of doubt that all the concerns identified in the register have been addressed. Now, what is outstanding is that the district registration review officers, these are people who happen to be magistrates in the various districts. They have just finished with the process, the objection, the inclusion, all the processes supposed to be handled by the court. And the commission is in the process of implementing these decisions. Once we are done, we'll go ahead to finalize the register, and the parties will be given copies. And again, we've also given letters to the parties that we are having an IPAC meeting on Tuesday. And in that particular meeting, we are going to present the entire voters register to all the political parties, civil society members who will be present. Because in the wisdom of the commission, we know that all these processes we must go through them. And you know, regulations 23 and 24 of CI 91, it's an audit of the register. And the commission is maintaining that those processes have been triggered. Until we finish, we will not be able to generate the final register. So we are beseeching the NDC and all the other political parties, let's come to the discussion table. Let's ensure that we go into the elections with a register that is credible. And the EC has worked towards ensuring that we have a register that is credible, that will be fit for the 2024 general election.
At this point, it's not only the NDC that is asking you to do the audit. Alan Tremantin and his movement for change, Alliance for a Revolutionary Change, have also joined and giving you a suggestion. They are proposing what they call they say establishment of a high-level technical working group chaired by the EC with representatives of candidates cleared to contest the general election and the consultants responsible for the EC's data management. The technical working group would agree on the process and procedures for a full and comprehensive audit of the current voter register based on the following source documents: the final 2020 voter register, the limited registration information since 2021, voter transfers effected since 2021, and special voters list 2020 to date. Each member of the technical working group ought to be provided access to original copies of the listed source documents and facilitated to determine the veracity of the entries in the said documents. Representatives of the candidates cleared to contest the general election who have written evidence of any compromised data in respect of the current voter register are required to submit same to all members of the technical working group before the start of the audit process. And finally, the final outcome of the collaborative comparative process would be deemed to be the final voters register for the conduct of the 2024 general elections. You don't think this is good and actually helps you to build trust and confidence?
Samson, I indicated we are meeting the parties on Tuesday. And in that meeting, our IT team will be there. And each party is supposed to come with 2 representatives. And we have civil society also to be present in that particular meeting.
That's not an IPAC.
No, that's an IPAC.
Okay.
So in that particular, we expect that since this is more technical, if a party is bringing 2 persons, I expect that one of them should be a technical person. And the commission is going to do a presentation on all we have done on the voters register. And Samson, let me make this point clear. The register was given to the parties in 2020. The register was given to the parties again in 2023. So I know any party should have that. And we've again given the registers to the parties in 2024 for each district. We've given to the parties. So what the commission is saying is that if you are a party and you have the capacity to know that what the EC has given to you is the right one or is not, once we finish this meeting and we give you the register, you should be able to know. For example, in 2020, going into the elections, we had almost 17,027,000 registered voters. In 2023, we added a little over 910,000 onto the register. And in 2024, we've added, in the first phase of the registration, we did almost 777,000. Then during the mop-up, we added almost 100,000. So when you put all these numbers together, we are doing almost 18.8 million people. After the exhibition process has concluded, then we will know those who have been removed by way of deceased and other things. So the party should be able to know. So what on Tuesday, when we do the presentation...
Are you suggesting you are open to the audit?
The audit is in the law, CI 23. No, CI 91, Regulation 23, Regulation 24. Something, maybe Joy must share that particular CI publicly. It's an audit of the voters register. Commission is not against anything, but what we are saying is that what the law has provided for, why do you want us to depart from it? Well, the election is barely 2 months away, and we have a system in place provided by law which we used to clean, and we did that in 2020, we did that last year, 2023, and we are applying the same procedure. And the Commission is fully convinced that we are going to get a final register that is credible, that is robust, and that will be fit for the 2024 general election.
And Kofi Asamoah and Bernard, let me come to you before I return to the studio. So Kofi, I don't know if the PPP joins the NDC like other civil society and significant individuals who believe that the NDC has a point, and that, like Professor Abochi says, audit is such that it has the capacity to even help the EC itself. And when I had the opportunity of addressing the judicial service function in Cape Coast, my question was, at a time when the EC is suffering a trust deficit, it may be good for it to allow such a process, because the outcome will also help build its own image and confidence with the public. Where do you stand?
Yeah, thank you, Samson. That's exactly one of the points I put down, that the conduct of the forensic audit by the Electoral Commission will help the Electoral Commission itself. It will build their credibility and so on and so forth. In fact, the PPP supports the audit. We're part of the demonstration that the NDC organized, and I suspect it's our participation in that demonstration that sends all sorts of signals to Cortes that has resulted in this unjustified, I don't want to use disqualification, removal of our name from the list. But on a substantive submission, you see Dr. Bosonasari, my friend, is now in defense of the position of the Electoral Commission not to do the forensic audit. It's relying on regulations and what the law provides. And yet, when it comes to other aspects of their work, they don't want to fully comply. And that double standard, like I said, from public officers needs to be removed from our discourse and our practice.
Well, they disagree that they have not complied.
Oh, definitely, you know that he has not complied. So what he says, his disagreement really doesn't, it's not sustainable. Now, I have read the 9-page response from the Electoral Commission to the NDC. And on a lighter note, I detected typographical errors on page 6. So you see, errors are part of our lives every day.
I think I saw that one as well. Please don't let us major on it.
Oh yeah. So that just on a lighter note. But I think that the submission was well written. But the more you read that document, the more you want to support the forensic audit, because the Electoral Commission admits to the concerns that the NDC has raised, that all these 215,000 movements, the vulnerability of a district officer being able to transfer voters without recourse to the applicant, the registered voter, and so on.
That district officer has been sacked now.
Yes.
He has been dismissed.
They stated in the response to the NDC. But I'm saying that those admissions, if the audit is conducted, will give comfort to the NDC that there were no other things that they themselves couldn't see. And the second reason why I support the audit is that the Electoral Commission itself admitted to vulnerabilities that they have as we speak, except that they claim that they have the institutional setup, the IT system is robust, and also the fact that they have audit trail if anybody did any of those things and so on. But this is what they are able to see now. So in my view, a forensic audit will expose what they are not able to see now, so that we will solve the problem before it becomes bigger and result in other things. So that it's very important. So their own letter justifies a forensic audit. And they don't lose anything. And that was my third point, which I said first, that it will rather enhance the credibility of the Electoral Commission. Just look at, we go and do a forensic audit, and everything the EC has said is confirmed. Then everybody will be at peace with itself that we can trust this Electoral Commission. We know they have a system that is robust. We know that all these party people that has been appointed into the commission are not able to manipulate the system all the way through the end of the process and declaration. In fact, in the past, the PPP had made a lot of recommendations to the Electoral Commission, including even in our case, asking the Electoral Commission to include in the processes verification of the electoral results by an audit firm before it is declared, so that everything starts from there. Everything we are doing in Ghana starts from the electoral process, and if we get the processes right at that very onset, in my view, it will improve the governance system.
Okay.
We don't want the Electoral Commission and its officers to be subjected to all these kind of vulnerabilities.
Okay, so you will definitely be at the IPAC that Dr. Botmasari is referring to, and you will push for the audit to go on. Let's see how that pans out. Bernard Mona, the EC says that the legal and administrative processes have not been exhausted to justify the call for a forensic audit. They are saying this is premature. The exhibition process is ongoing, and it adds to the cleaning of the register. Presently, they say there's an online exhibition of the PVR, which the EC will implement to correct whatever issues there may be at no cost to registrants or voters. What do you say?
This is not a call for a new voters register. At the time when we resisted the Electoral Commission's unilateral decision to do a new voters register, the Electoral Commission told us that the register that they were bringing forth will be without errors. Today, reality has dawned on us that the electoral register that we have is riddled with errors. Somehow, the PNC does not have the kind of capacity the NDC has to have been able to detect in such volumes the errors and the bloating, and in some cases the deleting and transfers of people. So we can only salute the NDC for their meticulousness that has exposed these deficiencies in our voters' roll. Given that Dr. Bosman and the Electoral Commission have admitted to some of the discrepancies that the NDC brought forth, it is natural and fair to say that if we all sat together and look at the details of the voters' register, we would be in a position to accept its credibility. Don't forget that the credibility of the register is about 80% the credibility of the outcome of the elections. So when the credibility of the register is in question, what it means is that the outcome of the elections will be in question. As the administrative body responsible for managing elections in this country, you don't want that to happen. I don't lose anything if we subject it to that audit. But when they say forensic audit, what does that mean? Does that mean that we should go and bring Samson and Associates? Or Garini Mako and Associates? Or Dafe Mako and Associates to come and do it? Or does that mean that all political parties or candidates in the election 2024 should bring in persons so that we can all go through, and in the end, we can confirm that the voters' register is as robust, as solid as we all want it. So this defense and, if I want, very belligerent posturing of the Electoral Commission does not help any one of us. What position the Electoral Commission is taking is that we will carry the suspicion of an incredible voters register into the elections and the outcome. It doesn't matter whether I win or Sian wins. Some other people will doubt the credibility of the voters register, and therefore it will impugn on the general outcome of the elections. Where we sit now, and with the many civil society organizations admitting, now the Electoral Commission is saying that they are going to do online exhibition of the voters register. Samson, you know where I come from? I come from Sankara. How many people are online proficient? So something that we can walk and go and do and check. Now the Electoral Commission saying that they are going to give it to the exclusive elite who understand their WhatsApp on internet and how to navigate. And the vast majority of us who are not computer or IT proficient, we are emasculated from this process.
Yeah, but
elections are
but
not
Bernard,
about those.
But Bernard, there's substantive allegations about discrepancies in the voter transfer. The NDC points to in excess of 240,000, 43,000 votes that were illegally transferred. Now, the EC has painstakingly indicated the contrary to show that these were legally done, and there's no basis to suggest an illegality. At least,
so sit down with everybody. Let us see how you painstakingly did it legally.
But you that is alleging, the law is that he that alleges must prove. You that is alleging, prove how these were illegally done.
They have made their case to the Electoral Commission.
The fact that
the Electoral Commission comes to say that it's not true. So if they did not prove anything, how did the Electoral Commission get to know that it is not true?
No, the EC is pointing you to how that was legally effected. And there were 38.
Transfers were legally effected.
May I finish? There were 38 unauthorized transfers in Posiga, and the officer has been punished for that. And that
which officer? The returning officer or the EC director?
The director who was involved in that has been punished.
But is it the director or the returning officer that gets the transfers done?
You won't let me finish my question.
Because I just want to know, because Dr. Bosman is there and knows that it's not the EC director, but it will be the returning officer that should be responsible.
I need to respond.
Yes, respond.
Okay, let me respond by saying, no, Mr. Mona, we know by law the returning officer does receive the transfer applications, but to enter into the system, the EC system, you need a certain password to do that. And that password is given to only the district officer. So, per what the commission is saying, the details of that particular person was used. So, it's true that the return officer is the one who will receive the application, but to enter the EC system is done by the district officer. And let me also clarify something Mr. Mona said. Mr. Mona, when the EC talks about online display of the register, we are not saying internet. In the document, what we are actually saying is that there will be a code. So if your phone, you can receive Momo on it clearly. So you don't need a sophisticated phone. You just need to be able to enter your details. So it's not like internet or a website. That's what we are doing.
So Bernard, the 240 plus, 40,000 plus allegation, they have shown how that is untrue. The question about unidentifiable and missing voter data, which the NDC refers to some 3,000, almost 4,000 voters. They have shown that they have not been deleted and that you can find these people or voters either on the voters register or on one of they call the exception list, multiple list, or the transfer list. So that's why they say the NDC's demands are not borne out by the facts?
Just a simple question to you. Something, what will the Electoral Commission lose if there is an audit?
But it should not be doing an audit for the sake of it.
No, I'm saying that what will they lose so that it enhances credibility and prove all of us that, look, our suspicions are not born out of the fact, not so. Mm-hmm. But if the Electoral Commission even admits one instance, in the case of Pusiga, and if I listen to Rashid Tanko computer, he says that they only brought up the Pusiga case for the Electoral Commission, but they have other cases that they wanted to sit with Electoral Commission and bring it. And I will be excited to be part of it, to be able to know whether indeed there are many of such things or not. So if the NDC at the end is not able to prove its case, something we call out the NDC and indicate to the whole world that these are just agents provocateurs. Not so. So then the Electoral Commission even become more fortified and more strengthened. But if the Electoral Commission today you are writing, tomorrow you say otherwise, then all of a sudden it has become a banter. As it is now, some other political parties want to even go and do press conference on Monday to either back the Electoral Commission or to, I can't get it.
So you're going to take advantage of the, you're going to take advantage of the
Electoral Commission and all of us must be interested that if there is the slightest suspicion of incredibility, it does not only affect the register, but it will affect the outcome. And I'm sure that Dr. Bosman agrees with me on this.
Right. I just ask if you will definitely take advantage of the IPAC this week to push in the coming week to push for the audit, or do you see that as, you don't see that as a window to be able to push for what you insist must happen?
Well, the meeting that I'm told is just about the voters register and what matters pertaining. My general secretary has been written to, he has notified me. He will be attending with some other person. Maybe the national chairman or some other person will join. So they will attend. Personally, I will not be available. As I speak to you, I've just enjoyed some fine watching in Garba Lodge. Sorry for you this morning. And so I'm heading to Bumprugu.
Okay.
I am still on my campaigns because I'm convinced that I'll be on the ballot for the December 7th elections. And so I will not be around on Monday to participate in this exercise.
But your officers will go with your instructions, sir. Keep holding on there.
My party will be there. They will listen to the arguments. As I have already indicated, we are not so sophisticated as to have identified what the NDC have identified. We have only listened to the NDC.
And they have
we
a
have
good
read
place, so you
and
support
we have
them.
also seen that the Electoral Commission has admitted some of the issues that the NDC has said, and they have rejected some of the issues that the NDC has said.
Okay.
In view of the admissions and rejections, it will be proper to have a forensic audit.
All right, so we'll come back to you guys again on the demonstrations and the outcomes. Now, Roxanne.
Yes.
The EC says you are running ahead of yourself. You are trying to torpedo a laid down procedure that there is still room for you to have your concerns addressed within this window.
Okay.
So your demands for forensic audit is premature.
Thank you very much. Samson, you have listened to the EC and you appear to be buying their story. So now listen to the NDC. The EC tells you that under Regulation 23 of CI 126, the processes available in law offers them an opportunity to audit the register. Is that not their case?
To attend to your problems.
No, hold on.
23 is about the special voters list.
No, so that should be...
CR91 itself, there's a provision...
No, hold on. There's a provision for
Those are the provisions they have been referring
No, exhibition. Hold on.
Exhibition. It says CR91.
CR91. Yes, CR91. Exhibition.
Exhibition.
And that's 23.
Yes.
Now, he tells you that under 23 in CR91, the processes available in law offers them the opportunity to audit the register so compiled.
Self-audit.
Please, hold on. To audit the register so compiled. And they have actually done that. So the issues the NDC have raised have been addressed. Now, what they have forgotten about what we are saying is that our concerns emanated ex post facto the exhibition. It is after the exhibition that these matters were uncovered during the exhibition process. So the processes under 23 in CI 91 is no longer robust enough to deal with the problems we have uncovered. What are the problems the NDC uncovered? We are saying that on the 2023 voters register, about 3,957 persons were excluded, and yet they've again been found on the 2024 register. Again, we are saying that the voters transfer in 2024, the details not included in 2024, also amounts to about 2,994 people. Then again, we are saying that about 243,000 people were transferred in 2020, but again, they've been added to the 2024 transfer list. Again, we are saying that about 15,000 persons have been transferred, and yet there's no record of where they were transferred from. These and many other things we are raising.
And to each of these heads of complaints, they have provided detailed explanations refuting them.
Sam, you and I are trained in the law. Mere refute of the matters we have put out with figures is not sufficient. I expect the Electoral Commission to say that when you say, for instance, that about 15,000 persons have been transferred, and yet you've not provided details of where they were transferred from, these are the areas where we transferred them from. They are not providing that hard evidence. They're only saying that we have corrected that. How did you correct that? They're not speaking to that. They're not giving us figures.
This is the explanation to the 15,000 you referred to.
Yes.
They say that you are yet to provide to the Commission evidence of the 15,000 instances of unidentifiable voter transfer paths that the party noted it has identified in the PVR. As explained, all data from registration to transfers and amendments are not deleted from the voter management system. All voters registered in the VM voter management systems can be accounted for. There exists a trail that explains each voter's movement. Even in instances where voter data is corrupted, there still exists evidence, paper or electronic, of a registration having taken place. This allows the Commission to identify the voters and invite them for inclusion should it be revealed that they are not in the provisional voters register.
That is not correct. We give them the evidence. So, for instance, in addition to the explanation you read from them, how come the instances in Pusiga happen? How come the infractions in Honorable Atu-Forson's constituency happen? How come mine in South Dine happen? It may not have attracted media attention, but we have to take steps for that to be corrected. So the NDC provided you with the basis.
They didn't.
We did. We did. I'm informed that they gave you the information.
Sorry, just a second.
Yes.
You said in South Dine,
yes,
there was a similar situation.
Yes.
You took steps.
We took steps.
And it was corrected.
Yes. You understand me?
So what are the steps you took? And what's the correction?
We went back with the evidence that these transfers couldn't have happened because the transfers that are supposed to have been captured after the period these are the figures.
Where did you go to?
We went to the office.
The district office?
Yes.
So why are you not using the district offices to correct these problems?
Because we don't have enough time frame now. It has to take audit. That is why NDC is saying use forensic audit, not mere audit. A mere audit will resolve the issues.
You just resolve the issue at your locality.
Yes, but that is
all these issues are in various localities.
But that is
use them to resolve them.
That is a microcosm of the macrocosm. The macro matter, it has to take a small team, and I agree that as we are calling for a forensic audit, movement for change. It's saying that it has to be a team. And I agree that we need a team. Because whatever the nature and form of the audit, it has to happen.
You just confirmed the EC systems and procedures, which are capable of resolving the issues without the audit.
No, but they are denying the findings put out by NDC as not untrue. That they use their internal systems of audit to be able to correct those, but they are not able to tell us how they did those corrections.
Supposing when you went to the district and tabled it there, supposing they declined to respond and correct them, what would you have done?
I would have gone to Ho.
If you went to Ho and they didn't listen to you,
I would have to come to the national.
Then if you come to them, they don't, what do you do?
Then we are in a fix.
You go to court.
Of course.
So why don't you exhaust the process? They say you have not exhausted them.
He says, did you listen to him? You read his reaction. He says it's premature.
Exactly. That's what they are saying.
Good. But if something is premature, how do I go to court? So I need to exhaust the...
No, don't go to court. Exhaust the internal process. That's what they are saying.
No, but I'm saying that as part of the internally provided procedure is the audit. Because we insist that the provisions under 23 CI 91 is not robust enough to deal with some of these matters. And we have, for instance, we made the case that a PVR machine is missing. They are not addressing that. How does it connect to the equipment to be used on 7th December? They have not been able to speak to it.
How is the register compromised without the audit on December 7th?
Okay. As we speak, staff of the security services are still being transferred. Meanwhile, the EC has already compiled special voters list. All right? So shouldn't those people be given opportunity to update their new locations? Because we don't have sufficient time. We only have about 60-something days to the election.
I have a thinking about this inquiry.
Yeah.
On election day, when I go to the polling booth, I will look for my name. Once it's identified, I will be ticked. I will go through the process and vote. I can vote only once. Correct? So the system is foolproof, is it not?
It's not foolproof. For instance, they officially stated that they won't use indelible ink. Ask him whether I didn't write to them to say that that position is not accurate in law. Ask them whether they responded to me. As we speak, they haven't. In 2020, by an administrative fiat, midnight of 6th December, by an administrative fiat, a certain group of people in this country didn't vote by administrative fiat. So they've taken certain administrative decisions that have had serious consequences on our electoral processes. So once we have sufficient time to deal with these matters and audit both of the register and the IT system. Do we have an IT system at the EC that is robust enough against external attack? Do we? I don't know. The NDC doesn't know. And I'm sure that Gary sitting here, he may not know. So it's only an audit that will give those assurances. And not merely an audit, but a forensic one. And why an electoral commission of this stature would be running away from such a call baffles me. And I want to tell Doctor, because we are all young people, I'm sure we're colleagues in the university. We didn't study together, but it's a privilege to serve with institutions like the Electoral Commission. So these matters are not personal. They are demands to improve institutions and let them stand the test of time.
Can you suggest to me in a minute what disabilities do you pretend you will suffer without the audit?
Now, for instance, without the audit, if persons whose names are not supposed to be on the register, after the exhibition, after the regular exhibition, now they speak of an online exhibition, which is also irregular in law. Because if you read Regulation 27 of CI 91, it talks about certified register. Certified register is defined in the law to say that a final register after claims and disputes and objections have been determined. Now, as part of the exhibition process, persons have the power, the right to object to the inclusion of names on the register. How is that going to happen if you do it merely online?
But that window doesn't exist at this point.
They are going to re-exhibit, and the re-exhibition, they speak of only online. So if I don't want your name because you are not eligible to be on the register, how am I going to exercise that right? And
I'm saying that window is over. It's closed.
Yeah,
No.
right?
that window is closed.
Oh, are you not speaking of re-exhibition online? You just spoke about it.
That online exhibition is to serve what purpose? Tell us.
To let people check their names again, so that you can see where your name is.
So if I don't find
after what exercise? Is it not in your so-called audit?
If you
hold on. If I don't find my name,
the commission will give a time frame. If you don't find your name, we will be able to, or assuming your name, your polling station has changed.
Okay.
In that manner. But what we know is that all these things have been resolved.
Assuming I have been transferred to a place without my knowledge and I find my name, but it's not at my polling station.
Commission will give a time frame. We've not yet determined the time frame yet. Maybe 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days, within which, if there is any discrepancy, we'll use that to correct.
If
So
if I don't go through this process, and on election day, I go to my polling station at 355 Anufa Street, and I don't find my name, but this is where I registered, what's my recourse?
No, practically, when your name is not there, you cannot vote.
But I know, as a matter of fact, I'm holding a voter's ID card.
They're in that particular place.
I'm voting, yes, but my name is not there because of a transfer, which I am not the cause of, and I don't find my name there. What do I do?
I made an earlier point. All these discrepancies, the commission has addressed them. I know currently, as we speak, the code is still there. The code 751, that 711*51, that code is still there. And we've never had people saying that they've checked and they couldn't find their names. But what the commission is saying is that because of the time frame, we can't do the physical re-exhibition. But we are going to allow this particular one, which will go on till election day. But when we announce it, we are going to give
If you find that it is important, it is central to the election, why are you talking about time frame? If something must be done and must be done well, you do it.
You know, we have the election, my brother mentioned that about 60 days to the election. You need to have a final register. As soon as you have the final register, that's what you are going to use. So when the commission gives the time, I know there are countries, people register, same day registration, you vote. Unfortunately, we don't have that in Ghana. And by law...
Alan Chairman's, suggestion, which is a collective, you decide what you want to do as EC and parties. That is possible.
No, what the commission is doing on Tuesday, we've invited the parties, the CSOs, the donor partners who attend IPAC meetings.
The independent presidential candidates will also be there?
I need to check if the letters were sent to them. Okay. So what we are going to do and it's only one item agenda.
Okay.
A discussion on the 2024 voters register. And something, in our local parlance, when we say a blind man says, I'm going to hit you, he knows what...
That's his foot on the stone.
So clearly, what the commission, the exhibition is meant to address this. The 243,000 he mentioned, those were transfers from 2020, 2023, which were added onto the transfers, and the commission has done all that. So on Tuesday, I'll be happy. You will not be around. You will see the presentation, and if there are questions, that's why I know the parties have the capacity to know we've given them the right document.
Gary, are you convinced by the explanations?
You see, something that it appears to me that what the DC is doing is more speculation than suspicion. That is the way I'm seeing it. Because this process that
respond to the question.
Oh, I'm responding to the
question. No, leave NDC. Respond to the question.
I'm responding to the question.
No.
You see, this process that we are in now, it's all in the initial stages. You know the final register. Now, this is all a provisional register, from my understanding. Is that not correct?
It's still provisional.
Yes. So when you see any error, you point it out. When you see any deletion, you point it out. Any clerical error, you point it out. And there's an inbuilt self-audit in the law, in CR91. An inbuilt audit by the EC itself in the law. So when you are calling for forensic audit, when as a matter of fact, the inbuilt checks and balances within the law has not been exhausted. I don't understand it. In any event, the forensic audit that they are calling for, on what premise are they calling for that one? Is it based on CR 91 or based on which law?
Yes.
I don't find any forensic audit in CR 91.
I'll read it to you.
Read it when you want to read it for me, because see what I see in CR 91 is an audit of the register is by the EC, publication, exhibition, detecting the errors, pointing it out, challenging people to be on the register, taking their names out, and all these things are all in the law. And I think these are all initial stages that I think the EC is going through. Why don't you wait for the EC to complete the process and then do a final publication? And then we can say, oh, we think at this stage it is still not foolproof. At this stage it's still not, there's a problem with the register. But at the very early stages, you say you want forensic audit. Not even audit. You want forensic audit based on what? Are you going to court with the register?
Must you be going to court first?
But if they are looking for forensic audit, to do what exactly? To do what with the register?
That is what is necessary to ensure that we keep the country intact and our elections, credible. Why not?
I believe
it must not take a court.
I believe that, you see, nobody should be here to be seen to be either defending the EC or speaking against the EC. We should all speak in a manner that will ensure that our elections will be free, fair, credible. Because we want to go into elections and come out of these elections on scratch. And I think that one of the fundamental documents with this election is the voter register. We are being told that all the parties have the voter register. All the parties have the voter register. So if you have it, identify the errors you find in the register, point those errors out to the EC for those errors to be corrected, if there are any.
Sam, can I respond quickly? Now, Regulation 27 of 91 speaks of a certified register.
Quote.
Oh, hold on. Certified register, Regulation 27. 1. The Commission shall certify the register after the determination of claims or objections. 2. The procedure for certifying the register include the following. A. Matching of fingerprints in the database of the Commission by automatic fingerprint identification system. B. Examination of facial and personal data of all applicants or all applications with multiple registration by an adjudication supervisor of the Commission. C. Confirmation or rejection of a registered voter by an adjudication supervisor of the Commission. D. Printing of the adjudication report of the adjudication supervisor of the Commission. E. Review of the adjudication report of the adjudication supervisor by an adjudication review committee made up of, then the lists are all stated. Then F. Submission of the report of the adjudication review committee to the chairperson of the commission for authentication and approval. And G. Addition of approved names to the final register or deletion of unapproved names from the register. 4. The Commission shall make available a certified copy of the register to the registered political parties and any other person that the Commission consider necessary no later than 21 days after the register has been certified.
Yes, and at this stage.
Let me make the point. Let me make the point first. Yes, what's the point?
All these laborious points are not things that you do during exhibition. This is after exhibition. There are claims and objections after the exhibition because persons have been errors have been detected, problems have been detected. So the procedure provided under 27 under certification has to take a special audit because you don't use exhibition to please, you don't use exhibition to compare fingerprints and facial correctness or otherwise. It has to take a special audit. So the audit, it is after the audit that these requirements will be certified, including, we've been to court. 2 weeks ago, I was in court to deal with some of these matters on behalf of my party. So all those reports from the various districts will have to come to the final adjudicator or the review committee setup. This is the processes. This one It's an audit that can deal with these matters.
Okay, interesting. Yes, Gary.
That's what I'm saying. You see, all these processes that you indicated here,
Yeah.
these are matters that will be taken care of after the provisional stage of the register.
Yes, and
And we are not there yet.
the provisional register that has been exhibited that contains these problems.
That is why these problems that you are seeing.
That process does not call for a third party involved.
Yes, exactly.
You are asking for a third party
Yes.
involved.
Are you saying that the EC should see this power?
No,
Should see this power?
stakeholders.
No.
How do you compare
The EC should
facial
see,
correctness in my
should
absence?
see this power, its power under the Constitution, and give it to a third party to come in,
They
come
say
and do
involvement.
special.
What we're asking for is that involvement of third parties, independent third parties.
No, Roxy, my brother. We are not here yet. In fact, they are not there
In
yet.
fact, we've gotten there.
No, yeah, but
We've gotten there.
But
What we are dealing with is the provisional
the register
which
is
replete
provisional.
with errors.
So,
And you are saying that you have corrected the errors. We don't know how you did it. He says he will disclose that on Thursday.
you see,
On Tuesday,
you
we'll
see,
present-
Roxy. Let's educate our listeners.
I've just read the law.
What you read,
Yes.
What you read,
Yes.
We are not there yet because
When do you get there?
the
Tomorrow?
register, oh, Roxy, please, I beg you. If you do that, you know what I will do.
Proceed quickly.
The register is in the provisional state as it stands now. It's provisional register. Auditing is being done, what do you call it? Admission is being done and all these things to correct any error that you find. If you have seen any, like you rightly pointed out, you want to make the corrections. So at this stage, it's not a certified register. It's not certified. It's a provisional register. So I'm saying that what NDC is doing, in my view, it is just speculation and suspicion. And because they think that, well, we have seen maybe one error here or one error there or something, then let's go for what you call a forensic audit. So are you saying that the EC, with the constitutional body to provide elections, to compile register, should see this constitutional authority to a third company or a third party?
If it becomes necessary, why not? In Kenya, they had a similar situation, and they allowed for KPMG to do an audit. When KPMG did the audit, they found what they called major security loopholes in the 2022 register that can be exploited to manipulate the election. It was only a week to the election.
We are not there
They
yet.
found those things.
We are not there yet. We are
Okay.
not there yet. At this stage,
You are singing the
we are
same
not there
hymn
yet.
as the EC.
Because you see,
The problem is at hand. You say it's premature.
Roxy.
We're dealing with it.
Roxy,
Don't heckle him.
Roxy,
please.
listen. You see, Dr. Bosman is sitting here. He said on Tuesday there's an IPAC meeting.
IPAC meeting.
All
on
the
the-
political parties, stakeholders, donor agencies are going to meet, and the single item is on this particular issue which has been raised. Why don't you go there and raise your concerns there? This is
Do you know how many times the
Why don't you go
NDC
there?
has been to the
at least,
EC and raised these matters?
Oh yeah, Roxy.
Of course, they'll be there, but
If
Gary,
it's premature, why is it going
of course, they'll be there, but Gary, you also appreciate the arrangement at the IPAC that has not been helpful,
Right.
where the political parties with a bigger purse are able to whip, the others who attend to vote in their favor if it comes to voting. So since the
we don't
NPP is
vote at
opposed,
IPAC. We don't vote.
They don't vote at IPAC.
We don't vote.
You resolve.
how do you resolve
So
the issue?
what we do is that the commission will listen to the consensus of the parties, and we'll choose the course that is right for our country.
And you look at the majority that is saying this is what it should be.
No,
But
not
we should
necessarily.
say the majority of
Not necessarily.
IPAC
No,
members. That's what you
not
say.
necessarily.
That's your language.
No, you see.
So this one, for example, if
vote,
even all the
majority.
parties say no, they think there should be this, and in the wisdom of the
We need to take a break. We need to take a break. Yes, Gary.
For me, I see. I'm begging my brothers and sisters in the NDC. It's good that now you are going to the IPAC. I mean, for some time now, they said they won't go to the IPAC.
No, they've been going. They've been going to
Now
IPAC.
they've been
For a
going.
long time now, they have.
What's that breach?
Roxy, you know that we have outstanding.
Crossed that
Yeah,
bridge.
you have outstanding.
Yeah, we have outstanding.
So I beg them. They should go to the IPAC, air their grievances, air their views, air their concerns. They should provide them with evidence, documentary evidence, to show why they are saying this and this and this. Let the EC also respond, and let their concerns be addressed
Okay.
at IPAC.
We went to EC asking for media coverage.
As
They
we
said
go
no.
on break, one last question. What do you lose if you allow a forensic audit?
we are not losing anything, but let me make it clear. The audit is in the law, And what the commission is saying is that when we exhaust it, we give the registers to the parties, and they genuinely have concerns. We can discuss that, but as we speak now, the EC is not prepared to accede to a third party coming to audit our system when we know clearly that there is no problem. The procedures we are
Alan
using now,
Chairman's suggestion is a consensual
that's
approach.
what Tuesday we are bringing everyone on board. And the presentation will be such that this is the state. The register we gave to the NDC before the exhibition. For us, the register is a living document.
So on
We've been
Tuesday,
working
you'll
on-
be open.
No, we've always been open.
Okay.
We don't do it for ourselves, for the people of our dear country.
All right. I reference the Kenyan situation, but I must state that their situation is backed by their law.
Their law.
But
And it's 6
even
months,
though
the Kenyan situation,
even
6 months
though
to the election.
in this one they did it a week to the election, even though I'm a practitioner of the law, I know when not to be unnecessarily legalistic when there is common sense, which approach when you take does not violate any law. We'll take a quick break.